We are on the beat with the Around the NFL guys. We've got Greg Rosenthal and Dan Hansis here in studio on NFL Now to break down the winners and the losers in the Deflategate suspensions. Certainly a lot of different players in this one, guys. Some guys come out on top, some guys don't. Let's start off with the winners. Ted Wells, how does he end up on top after this is all said and done?
Because Ted Wells is not a shrinking violet. Ted Wells came out, held a conference call, something he's never done. He didn't do after the Jonathan Martin report that he issued, and said, listen, not only am I confident in my findings, I resent anyone and take issue with anyone that's questioning my independence or integrity. And that was a shot at Tom Brady's agent, Don Yee, and the New England Patriots.
Well, let's be honest. Ted Wells broke out some swagger on that call. His mustache was a big winner. I like that. He was going after Don Yee, Tom Brady's agent. He admitted to the fact that he's made millions off of this case. So that's one reason why he's a big-time winner. He's made the most money.
I should note that we couldn't actually see the mustache, but in some file photos we saw it during the call.
I think it maybe has its own Twitter account right now, so maybe that's winning as well. On the football field, winning in this one, assuming the 4-game suspension holds up upon expected appeal, you get the first 4 opponents the Patriots face, all breathing a sigh of relief. They don't have to face Tom Brady.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's going to be a tough one on opening night in Foxborough. But I think Buffalo and Rex Ryan, especially the biggest winner, because that's the only division opponent that gets the Patriots in their first 4 weeks. So that's an advantage that Buffalo has that the rest of the AFC East does not. I think they're going to win that game week 2.
What an emotional roller coaster Rex has been on since he became the Bills coach. He sees all this stuff happening with the Jets, who just built a monster on defense after he left town. And then he's got to deal with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady again. Now some good news. He doesn't have to see Brady. And one thing I would have been interested to see was Brady against Rex at Orchard Park for the first time. Rex typically gives Brady a hard time, but we'll have to wait till later in the season.
And one of those winners, the Cowboys, Eastern Illinois, that's another winner. Tony Romo and Garoppolo. That's a lot of Eastern Illinois hype there.
Tailgate.
Yeah, going head-to-head as they match up. Maybe the biggest day in Eastern Illinois football history happening in an NFL game.
Yowzer.
All right, fans as well, big winners in this situation because, hey, we've got a little ways to go before the regular season starts. We have plenty to talk about until September.
That's true.
Patriots fans, not winners, but this is going to be a story that continues on. The Patriots are going to keep it going. They're going to go after the NFL. There's going to be an appeal. There's going to be all sorts of storylines. It seems like we've been talking about it for a while, but it's really only started. It's going to be the framework that really sets up this whole season.
If you like football news and you don't care what it is, you just like it on the top of Sports Center and you like it all over the websites, then this is great.
I was on the radio in London last night. They're not calling to just talk about rookie minicamps. They would only do it for this stuff.
No, and if you like your football coverage 25 hours a day, this story helps you get it. More losers in this case, obviously. Tom Brady is a loser, and his agent, Don Yee, who has been in the news a lot, talking about how much he dislikes the suspension, obviously, but not looking good for them.
I think Don Yee, he's protecting his client. He's doing probably what Tom Brady wants him to do, which is to go after the people that are going after Tom. But at the same time, I don't see it as necessarily a great look for Tom Brady that his agent is hissing at all these people. It doesn't match up with what we've known about Tom Brady for 15 years.
Well, let's be honest. He comes off a little unhinged, Don Yee. And the NFL really came down hard on the Patriots for a few reasons. I think it's partly because of not just the agent, but the Patriots' reaction to all this, that they've gone so hard at the NFL. He maybe isn't helping his client at all. And Tom Brady now is calling in a bigger gun, Jeffrey Kessler, to do the appeal. So Don Yee, it's like he's the minor leagues. Let's get the big guy.
And as we said, Ted Wells was upset with Yee. And Wells said something interesting, I thought, in the conference call. He said, listen, you had no problem making me in charge of this. You can't now get upset because you don't like what I reported back.
Would we also say that anybody with a Boston accent who's a huge Tom Brady supporter with the number 12 jersey hanging in the closet also a loser in this case? Or maybe they win because they get to go on talk radio and yak about how unfair this all is.
Patriots fans are hating this. I really think it's a tough time because you're trying to enjoy that 4th Super Bowl they've been searching for so long, and now they feel like they're under attack.
I feel terrible for Patriots fans after winning their 4th Super Bowl. Now they have to deal with this.
The tear you're shedding is real.
I like the spelling there, Tommy.
Tommy's fanboys, they're dealing with it. Mark Wahlberg, he's not going to be able to enjoy the Entourage premiere.
Yeah, the entire Wahlberg family does not come out well after the suspension.
No, it reminds me of that terrible NFL Films clip at the end of the Super Bowl. Mark Wahlberg just hugging Tom Brady. You're the best ever. Don't let anyone else tell you differently. And now things are different.
But he was like, do not touch me ever again.
Okay, getting back to the football field in this one, we talked about those first 4 opponents. The 5th opponent, the one that Tom Brady should be facing coming off of suspension, the Indianapolis Colts. And what a cruel twist of irony, given that this is the team that kind of started the whole Deflategate ball rolling.
Well, in a sense, you could say they're winners because they brought this up, and it looks like their fears about the Patriots and the deflated balls were right. But in the end, they're losers because they're going to get an angry Tom Brady. They're going to get the first game back for him on the field. They're going to be fired up. And in the end, in sports, do you really want to be known as the team that's calling out others for breaking the rules? No one likes that.
Yeah, but they were right, ultimately.
But it's like the guy
they
who
were
calls a lot of
vindicated.
fouls playing pickup basketball.
Well, if you get fouled,
it's the guy playing pickup basketball who calls the offensive foul.
Yeah, and
Right?
by the way, this does bring back memories. A lot of people are like, oh, Tuomi and his friends are going to lay 100 on the Colts when they see him. Well, I remember back after Spygate, when a lot of people thought the Jets, who were a bad team that season, were going to get 100 dropped on them. It was actually a close game with Kellen Clemens at quarterback. So maybe they'll be so pumped up they won't be able to carry out their typical game plan.
Well, if they're within 30 points, that'll be an improvement on the AFC Championship.
That's true, touche. Another loser in this case, you certainly heard before the punishment was handed down. A lot of people skeptical that the league would come down hard on Bob Kraft, the Patriots, and Tom Brady, given the close relationship that Roger Goodell and Bob Kraft are supposed to have had. That relationship, also a loser.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. They've worked closely together, and Kraft is obviously one of the most powerful owners in the league. So you have to wonder what happens next with this relationship because, listen, the NFL, which Goodell's the commissioner of, hit the Patriots where it hurts. It hit them both with taking away their franchise player, $1 million, which is probably not a lot to Bob Kraft, but it's still a lot of money. And then the draft picks, which directly impacts the future of the franchise.
We're going to have to watch to see what the Patriots do because Kraft, his statement after this all came out was vaguely threatening. And we'll have to see if there's legal action. And this is the type of thing the NFL does not want to see, one of its most powerful owners in the league going at each other publicly.
Yeah, as we canvass the winners and losers, a winner I didn't mention, tinfoil hat salesman, because I think conspiracy theorists are having a field day with this one.
This is the type of story that people just love if you're into, they're cheaters. Everyone's looking for a competitive advantage, but this kind of does prove that teams are going a little extra.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, and anyone that wears a tinfoil hat should be institutionalized.
Okay, well, that's another topic for another day. In the meantime, we promise to keep you absolutely covered on Deflategate and all the fallout as it continues. You can see it all by visiting NFL.com/aroundthe